Good afternoon. Welcome to the White Coat Ceremony for the class of 2026 of SIU School of Medicine. I am Dr. Hanami Idrisi, and I am the Associate Dean for Student Affairs. And I would like to offer some words about the White Coat Ceremony and its importance. At some time in everyone's life, family issues focuses attention on the critical need for compassionate and competent physicians. It is necessary that medical school training helps students to understand that alleviating human suffering is an important underlying principle in all of medical practice. It is our goal to influence the way physicians are trained from the very first day of medical school. This ceremony is to welcome our students to the medical profession and emphasize the importance of compassionate care. Essentially, doctors should care as well as cure. I now would like to introduce the Dean and Provost of SIU School of Medicine, Dr. Jerry Cruz.
Thanks, Dr. Idrisi. I am Jerry Cruz, Dean and Provost of the SIU School of Medicine. And it is time to welcome to the class of 2006. Good to see you again this afternoon. 2022. I'd like to be 20 years younger, there's no doubt about that. Also, welcome to all of you in the audience today. Welcome to the parents, to the family and friends of these daughters and sons and family and friends. You have been a great support to them as they've got to this point in their life and as they enter the profession of medicine. And we promise to you that we will take good care of them and they will become excellent physicians while they are here at the SIU School of Medicine. So welcome so much for all of the things, and thanks so much for all of the things that you do. We will make sure that they become excellent diagnosticians, excellent clinicians, and that they will understand how to care for people and families and communities in the context of the community and the entire world. I'll just say a couple of words about the white coat. First of all, to me, obviously, the white coat is not a symbol of infection control or cleanliness or sanitation. That's usually quite the opposite, as a matter of fact. Also, it is definitely not a symbol of achievement or authority or something that can separate someone or make them feel better than another. It is not that. This white coat is always a symbol of responsibility, and that's what we're going to teach the class of 2026 while they're in medical school here. They will clearly understand that they have a responsibility to master a very vast body of knowledge that's continually changing. They'll have to know that it's important for them to partner with their patients to use that knowledge to make the best decisions. They'll also come to know that they'll have to have strictly confidential relationships with their patients, which in this day and age means you have to know how to manage information appropriately. It's much different than it used to be. It also means that there will be a responsibility to teach the next generation of physicians, and you start now. And it also is a responsibility, historically, to care for people who can't pay uncompensated care. Now, that means that you focus and understand and never leave the goal of caring for those who are most vulnerable in our population. All of those things you should think of when you see this white coat. So, again, welcome to everyone, and maybe I'll see you at the airport. Okay. They know what that means, you don't, as a matter of fact. So I now would like to introduce the members of the dais party here. You met Dr. Hanami Idrisi, the Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Admissions. Next, Dr. Dan Mahoney, the SIU System President. Next, Dr. Wendy Elmeen, the Associate Dean for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Next, Dr. Matt Winkleman, the President of the SIU School of Medicine Alumni Society Board of Governors. Next, Dr. Deborah Clayman, the Senior Associate Dean for Education and Curriculum. And next, Dr. Amanda Mulch, the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs.
appreciate the opportunity to briefly welcome the School of Medicine class of 2026 on behalf of the SIU system and the Board of Trustees. Also bring greetings from Chancellor Austin Lane, who's actually at his son's graduation ceremony today, and so could not be here. In many ways, this is the start of an education journey, which is always exciting in and of itself. In this particular case, the beginning involves the donning of a white coat, which comes with a great symbolism encompassing the past, present, and the future of the medical profession. But focusing just on the fact that this is the beginning, this is something important. Getting admitted to medical school is very challenging, and it is a culmination of many years of education and hard work. So I want to say a big congratulations for all of your achievements up to this point. Also, most of us who get to this type of point have done so because of the support of others. So thank you to all of you here in the audience for being here today and supporting the students, not just today, but really to this point in their educational experience. Now, there's no question that members of the class of 2026 are in the right to be here and have what it takes to be successful in a medical program. I mention that now because there may be times that you question that during your education journey. Most people do. But rest assured, if you continue to stay focused and work hard as you have in the past, 4 years from now, we will have the pleasure to watch you graduate with your MD degree. We're all looking forward to that. So on behalf of everyone across the SIU system, we look forward to seeing you take your place as our next leaders in the medical profession. Again, congratulations to all of you.
I'd like to welcome to the podium Dr. Wendy Alamine, Associate Dean of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion.
Good afternoon. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as the next generation of physicians place on their white coat. At a time when we are moving through a disruptive phase with the pandemic, racial unrest, and a new war, it's events like this that provide us with profound hope. Events like this that allow us to hold space, to connect, remain grounded, and rooted in the principles of the Hippocratic Oath. We must be intentional to carve out places of safety, stability, and stay connected to our integrity and the truth. Earlier today, I talked with our students about one of my favorite quotes, Thich Nhat Hanh, and he says, "Only in still waters can you see your true reflection." This is your true reflection. I want to congratulate our student doctors and applaud their family and friends for supporting them on their journey. At SIU School of Medicine, we are committed to cultivating a culture that is equitable, a culture of wellness, and a culture of mindfulness for ourselves, our peers, and our community. The Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion is here to listen, empathize, provide safe spaces that enable you to share your frustrations, challenges, and joy. I feel that our greatest job is actually to make the invisible visible. Equity involves committing to understand and give people what they need to enjoy the life to the fullest and have healthy lives. Significant health inequities have been well documented across many dimensions, including race, gender, age, geography, disability status, and sexual orientation. We have learned that there is a great limiting step, and that's psychological safety. Psychological safety is a critical element. We must be safe to learn, safe to share, and safe to challenge. Psychological safety is what allows us to put on that white coat with our student doctors that symbolize their commitment to embrace opportunities that affirm humanity, listen deeply to understand. It also means that they're taking responsibility and not being afraid to fail fast. This ceremony should remind you that you are not alone on this journey. In 2019, Dr. Cruz declared that we would be an anti-racist institution. He made a commitment that we would embrace principles of anti-oppression. In order for us to reach this goal, we need all people to be involved to interrupt bias and build psychological safety so that our students, staff, and faculty can bring all their talent, skills, and abilities into SIU School of Medicine. Our president had charged each one of the campuses to have an anti-racism task force. I believe that it is critical as the School of Medicine to embrace the principles, because for us, it's most important because it's the difference between life and death. The difference between a community thriving and flourishing or languishing. It's the difference between a firm foundation, a legacy for the next generation. So there's a book called The Pillars of Trust, a thin book of Pillars of Trust, and they say there are 4 elements of trust. And that's that you're reliable, that you're sincere, that you care, and that you're competent. And when you put on your long white coat in 4 years, we hope that all of you all are called trusted physicians. We ask that when you place on that white coat today, that you're going to bring your creativity, your open heart, and innovation. We cannot accept the models that we have inherited in medicine that drive inequities. We want you to bring your innovation, your imagination. This class, I am convinced, will breathe new life into communities and communities that are marginalized. So remember, when you feel that discomfort, it's okay, you're learning and growing. Remember that sometimes it's one good conversation that can shift the direction of change forever. So the Office of Equity Inclusion is here for you on your medical journey. We want you to bring your authentic self into SIU. Our goal is to create exponential change that will lead to a world in which health is not determined by race, gender, who you love, your abilities, or your zip code. Welcome. recite the Declaration of Geneva, the physician's pledge. I'd like you all to read along with me. But first, I would like all physicians in the audience to stand, and also the class of 2026. Please stand. As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of health care. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. You may be seated. Thank you.
So when I was planning my words for you today, my inaugural class as the Associate Dean of Student Affairs, I began reminiscing about my white coat ceremony many years ago. I remembered the various emotions I felt sitting in one of those seats: excitement, fear, a little bit of self-doubt. Don't get me wrong, I was an ambitious child who always knew I wanted to be a pediatrician. But even with this dream, I grew up facing some of the harsh realities of my background and recognized at a young age that becoming a doctor would be a challenge. I am a child of South American immigrants. English was not the primary language spoken in my home, and my parents barely had a grade school education, much less college medical school. Because of my non-traditional background, I always placed an immense amount of pressure on myself to succeed, and resultantly always tended to be very hard on myself when confronted with feelings of inadequacy or failure. With this in mind, and with some hindsight, I asked myself, what message did I need to hear 20 years ago as I was starting my journey through medical school? While lost in deep thought about this question, thinking about my white coat ceremony, I recall the conversation that occurred on my first day in this new position on July 1st. One of my colleagues came up to me and said, "How are things going?" and said, "Congratulations, overnight you inherited 300 new children." I laughed a little bit awkwardly, maybe even cried internally. But later, when I got home and I was able to process it, I truly began to comprehend how truthful those words were. Sure, I am not your mother. I'm not taking you home with me, and I'm not doing your laundry for you. But I am a significant role in your medical upbringing. Like with my own children, I hope to nurture, provide structure, and offer support through your medical school career. There are many lessons I hope to share with you over the next 4 years. But one message became more obvious to me as I was planning this speech, And it happens to coincide with the lesson I'm trying to teach my youngest, Daniel. Daniel tends to be very hard on himself whenever facing any disappointment or frustration. He can actually say very hurtful things to himself at times. And as a mother and pediatrician, I know how bad this is for his development and self-esteem. I challenge him and say, would you ever say that to someone else? And he looks at me horrified and says, of course not, Mom, I would never do that. And then I ask him, why would you say that to yourself? So, as your adopted mother and someone who has felt the pressures of medical school, this is my message to you today. Be kind to yourselves. We as members of the medical profession, a grand tradition that you are now a part of, tend to embrace the concept of the stiff upper lip. We avoid displays of weakness, we sacrifice endlessly for our patients, and treat them with the utmost of compassion, as we should, since this is the foundation of our therapeutic relationship. However, we somehow do not reserve any of that kindness for ourselves. We are quick to judge ourselves, we serve as our own worst critics, we perseverate on any failure, and always think we can do better. But one thing this COVID pandemic and its emotional toll has taught me is that this lack of self-compassion is not only unhealthy, it is downright dangerous. Over the next 4 years, you will have good days and you will have bad days. Mostly good, I promise. Nevertheless, during those hardest moments, I need you to remember to be kind to yourselves. These setbacks do not define you. The test that you did not dwell on, the remediation that you have to do, that not so stellar evaluation you may get from a clerkship preceptor that you worked really hard on, that does not determine your self-worth or the doctor you will become one day and the lives you will touch. It is the lessons you glean from these experiences and the understanding you show yourself that allow you to grow and be content in your careers. As you go forth, I need you to promise that you will remember to be kind to yourself. When you encounter frustration or bump up against failure, you must not allow this to sow seeds of doubt. You must lift yourself with compassion. Turn your back on self-criticism and offer yourself some grace. I promise that this will not lead to complacency, but instead breed self-honesty, motivation, and happiness. I implore you to accept that disappointment and mistakes are a part of a shared human experience and realize that others around you may be feeling the same emotion. Seek out help when needed. Acknowledge your difficulties. Accept compassion from others. And most importantly, express kindness to yourself, even in the most difficult moments. These are the words I needed to hear 20 years ago, and now I pass them along to you. Good luck. Know you are part of the SIU family, and we are all here to support you. Thank you. And now we are at the end of the ceremony, but before we do, I would like all of you to turn around and thank those in the audience who have helped you get to this point, because 4 years from now, we will ask you to do the same. Stand up. Thank you. Please take wonderful pictures outside. Have a good day.